This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. Musicians with as many talents as Tara Lynch are a rare find. The American multi-instrumentalist who has both recorded and toured internationally, sings and shreds on guitar, as well as plays bass, drums, and piano, in addition to composing all her own material. At the same time, she enjoys an excellent reputation among her colleagues and not only deployed her own skills on her debut album, Evil Enough, but was supported by many international stars like Vinny Appice, also Tony MacAlpine, Phil Soussan, Mark Boals, Brent Woods, Glen Sobel, and more. Happy to have Tara Lynch join me here on the Metal Queens podcast. Welcome.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I started playing when I was a kid, and my brother played guitar before I did. I had an uncle that played, my dad played drums. So I was always around music, and I was always, music was always a priority for me. While the other kids were playing outside, I was sitting there listening to the radio and figured out that they kept looping the same songs over and over again. And I would keep waiting for my favorites. And from a very young age, I liked all of the what is now called classic rock, so Zeppelin and Cooper and Sabbath
Mm.
and, lots of bands like that, Deep Purple, and just grew up loving that stuff and always wanting to like make music. But I had nothing to do it with until I was about 10 and I started stealing my brother's guitar when he wasn't home. He told me he was almost 6 years older than me. So he said, "Don't touch it or I'll kill you." He thought I was going to break it because I was a kid. Anyway, I took it. I taught myself. I can play by ear. So I just played what I heard. And lo and behold, I had skills. My brother came home and caught me one day. And he said, "Holy heck, how did you learn how to play like that?" And gave me the guitar and went and got himself a new one. So now I had a guitar, and the rest is history.
So you studied with Steve Vai, one of the great guitarists of all time.
Oh yeah,
Ha-
after I was already an accomplished player, that's not a lesson, that's studying with, yes.
Studying with, yeah. And how did you connect with him?
Well, we connected actually through a charitable foundation that we both belong to, Hollywood Arts, and it supports, artists like us. And we met through that, and he came over here. I went to his house, and we just started, hanging out, and man, the greatest day was I was sitting with him in his Harmony Hut, and which is, a beautiful. This is nothing compared to that.
Mm.
It's a magnificent studio he's got for himself, and the most important thing I learned from him was to focus on one note,
Mm.
not all the many notes, but focus on one note. If you can make that one note sound the way you want it to sound, all the rest will flow. He was absolutely correct.
How about
So
Vinny?
I'm
Vinny
apposite.
Appice, yeah. How did you connect with him?
Well, I met him through my friend Phil Soussan.
Mm.
Yeah. So when you live out here, and I've been here since, oh gosh, 89. You meet a lot of people in the business. I worked in television, so I knew a lot of people in entertainment, and you go to parties and you meet people and you become friends. And when I met all of these guys, they had no idea that I was going to go professional. I had no idea I was going to go professionally. I was just a hobby musician. And then eventually my kids grew up, and I was like, okay, I think it might be time to try this. Sat my family down, had a meeting about it, said if I do this, it's probably going to take because there aren't a lot like me. So I'm going to give it a whirl, and I'm going to see if I can get my friends involved. And that's how I got everybody on the record. I just picked up the phone, called them, and it said, "So guess what? I wrote a record. I wrote, music, and I wanted you can listen to it. And if you want to participate, let me know." And no one said no. They all said, "Holy crap, yes." They were like, "Where were you hiding this all these years?" And because I released my first record in 2018, and I've known these guys way longer than that. And I said, you know what? I never wanted to do it professionally until I felt like doing it professionally. It's literally that simple. I didn't hold on to my dreams. I didn't sacrifice anything. I've lived my life the way I've wanted to live it. And I got it going at a later age than most people, but I got it going. So here I am.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Evil Enough was the debut album.
Yep. Yep.
What was the feeling like when you actually released that?
Oh, it was incredible. I couldn't believe I was releasing a record that I wrote that, from start to finish and had all these, monsters joining me on. I play all the guitars, of course. So
Mm.
Tony is on the record, Tony MacAlpine, one of the greatest guitarists that ever walked earth, and he plays keys. I have him doing a couple of keyboard solos on the record. I cast each song individually, based on who I wanted to hear play what. When I wrote the music, I actually wrote the music with them in my head. I already knew I was going to ask them. I was like, but I had to get the music done. They had to hear something and, you know, to know that I was dead serious about it. And sure enough, it got done. It felt amazing and like a great accomplishment for myself because it's not easy. Um, I don't have any collaborators. So I don't have a band that I keep. It's just me, myself, and I in this room, my home studio, playing all the instruments, writing all the music, and creating demos. And then I give the guys the demos to listen to and say, hey, you want to put your special zest on this? Yes. Boom, done. It was a great accomplishment. I'm still very proud of it.
And speaking of writing music,
Mhm.
new music,
New music,
Badassery was released, and you can check out the video at
2023.
taralynch.com
Yeah.
in 2023.
Yeah,
Are
that's a
you,
single.
that's a single.
Yeah.
Are you currently
So
working on new music?
absolutely. That's what I've been doing. It's funny. I released the record Evil Enough in April of 2018. I was on the road by November of 2018 and didn't stop for 5 years.
Hmm.
5 years touring on that record. At some point, you got to stop and write new music,
Yeah.
and then record the new music, okay, and get it out there. So that's really what I've been up to all this time is putting all of that together. And then in terms of like the timeliness of release and such, life gets in the way, and also people's schedules. Um, Vinny's playing drums on all the new stuff again. I've got Vinny back playing drums, and I'm on the guitars. I have Brent doing some rhythm guitars, and because that's his forte, and um, I do some too, of course. But I have a lot of interesting stuff going on in the new music, and I'm going to be releasing a single. At some point over the next couple of months. We got to shoot a video for it first. I was just on the phone about it today in terms of scheduling and figuring it out. It takes time to do these things. And the good news is it's my label. I decide when I do things and it'll get done when gets done. But this year, absolutely, the new music is coming out and I should be on the road this year as well.
All right. Let's go back to Badassery for a second. The video.
Sure.
It's a mixture of
Mhm.
some concert footage and also you
Yes.
on a racetrack. Have you raced cars for a while or was that the first time?
Oh yeah, no, 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 for years, for
Mm,
years. Yeah. In that video, I'm driving my Ferrari F430.
mm.
Yeah.
Badass.
And
Definitely badass.
I'm out at Willow Springs, one of the greatest racetracks in the country. The first racetrack where Ferrari raced
Mm.
when they came to the United States, and a lot of movies made there. It's a great great track. I love it. Yeah, just as a hobby. I'm not a professional racer. I don't do it for money. I've done a lot of charity events and just fun.
It's got to be a
But I
great
do.
rush.
It's road track, not
Yeah.
the oval, and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
drag. It's road track. So double apex turns, hills, the whole thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
So you had the Evil Enough tour
Uh-huh.
um, started in the spring of 19 and through the fall of 19, of course. Then we had the COVID break. So you were off the road for a while. Were you writing during COVID?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So I was writing most of what's coming out during that time, and then as things started to open up again, it's funny because even during COVID, I had tour dates in 2020. I had them in 21. I never had a year without tour dates. So, I started touring on that record in November of 18, actually, uh, in Germany.
Mm.
And then I did the UFO tour in 2019 and just continued from there. And so, yeah, I absolutely was writing during all of that. And but I couldn't start recording until later. So we didn't get recording again until 2022, and that's why Badassery didn't come out until 2023. And part of that also was uh, everything shifted in terms of the way shows are booked. The industry changed. There were new insurances and all kinds of things that had to happen before things mellowed out. And so I didn't want to release it until I could actually tour and play it, you know? And then um, I decided to release the single and then continue to write and record the rest of the record. And so, we're pretty much at the tail end of it now. The problem is I keep writing more stuff.
Mm.
And then I'm like, wait, I want to do this, that, and the other. So, I'll be playing piano on this record too.
Tara, let's talk about the Europe tour. You have a lot
Mhm.
of Central Europe artists on this program,
Yep.
from Slovenia and Czech Republic. They love their
Yeah.
heart. They love metal there.
Yeah.
And any particular countries you remember from that tour that were maybe more receptive or really rocked?
Uh, I would say absolutely. Prague was amazing.
Mm,
Budapest was incredible. Um, Czech Republic. Yeah, I mean, really, the reception was great everywhere, always in Germany. The reception's amazing. And it was so beautiful to see people at my shows in Germany that were at my shows back in 2019,
mm.
2018, my first run. I mean, it was incredible to see them come back all these years later. And, I'm not pumping out an album every year and having a new tour every year because I'm independent. So I don't have Warner Brothers money, obviously. So, it takes time to do these things, but they were there and they were hardcore and they were wearing my shirts from that tour from 2018. I couldn't
Mm.
believe it. They came in wearing the shirts. I was like, "What?"
Mm.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So Germany's always, phenomenal place to play. Probably one of my favorites of all the countries, but they were all fantastic. They were great everywhere.
What's the best thing about performing live?
The symbiotic situation. Uh, I work hard writing these songs, honing my craft, and delivering these songs live. And to see people rocking out and singing my words back to me is an incredible thing. And I think back to when I was a kid and I was moved to want to even do it in the first place. And it's extraordinary to see other people getting moved the same way I get moved by music I hear and love from other artists. So that's my favorite thing is just, the energy that's traded between me and the audience. I'm doing what is organic and natural to me that I've written, and they're vibing on it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. Yeah.
All right. So you teased at new music. When can we see you out on the road here in the U.S. this year, Tara Lynch?
The US is always tricky. I've definitely toured more in Europe, but
Mm.
there's a better audience there. There's more, it's easier to get bookings, all of it. More people show up. The US is definitely more of a hip hop, uh, the metal community keeps shrinking and shrinking
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Uh, the age group, obviously, is shrinking. So there are some kids coming into it, which I think is fantastic. I've seen some great looking and great sounding kids getting into it, but they're regurgitating everything that's already been done. I haven't seen anything really original yet at all whatsoever. So at the same time, it's exciting. It's also a little disappointing because they're not doing anything that's not already been done.
Yeah.
They're going back and wearing the same clothes and wearing, you know what I mean? Pulling the same moves. There's nothing new. Um, and I bring that up only because that's why the metal community doesn't grow again. It just keeps dissipating. And so, yeah, I definitely tour more in Europe. I will tour in the US, but as far as when, I'm not sure. Hopefully by the fall. Hopefully.
All right. That's interesting. I had the Hellcats, Sasha and Sonia from
Mhm.
Slovenia on recently on this podcast. And I asked them, well, when are you going to tour the US? And they said the same thing. It's really hard to tour the US.
It
So,
is. Yeah, it really is. It's hard to get any bookings. It's hard. It's so costly. It's so much more
Mhm.
expensive too. It's unbelievable. Um, so yeah, there are a lot of reasons why someone like me who doesn't have, major label backing,
Right.
I'm not running out to do something like that so quickly. The right tour has to come up and um, the right offers. So in the meantime, I'm in talks about touring Asia for the first time and more Europe, UK, same places again.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Europe, UK, possibly Asia too.
Yep.
For Tara Lynch coming up. Some new music coming too later this year as well. Possible
Yep.
EP or full album.
Making that decision as we speak.
All right, so we'll hear more. And you can connect with Tara online at taralynch.com and also on social too. You can connect with her there. Tara
Yep.
Lynch, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And hit the subscribe button on the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards.
All right.